take me back, back to the kind, take me back, back to the kind, all over, more better. It's Breakfast with Bob and Paul.
I am Paul.
Welcome back,
Paul
Bob.
Huddle. How about a round of applause for Paul Huddle? Just swam here from Barcelona.
Boy, my arms
Oh my God! Wow! Welcome to Breakfast from Kona, presented by Active. #Inspired to Race. My name is Bob Abbott. His name is Paul Huddle, and we're also brought to you by Timex Rudy Project, GoPro, Huddle, a second camera, GoPro camera, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, and Babbitttville Radio. Our next guest, 2008 Olympic gold medalist, who is a rookie here in Kona, Mr. Jan Frodeno. Jan, thanks so much for coming on with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I really appreciate that. So, winning a gold medal in Beijing, and I remember that race. I watched it on TV.
So do I.
Yeah, I bet you did too. So all of a sudden, Simon just takes off. Simon Whitfield takes off. He's Olympic gold medalist from 2000. What were you thinking when he took off?
I was thinking this guy was gone a minute ago.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous because he blew off on the last hill, so he was gone.
He was gone. I know.
You know, when you have your countdown, you're like, oh, sweet, I got a medal. You know, you're kind of counting around the guys, and it's like, whatever happens, I got a medal. And all of a sudden, there's 4 of you back in the mix. And Simon did it perfect because most guys would bridge up and then wait.
Yes.
And he just bridged up, threw his cap, and he's like, all right, Rocky style, I'm going to go. And that was, it was a brilliant move.
And the smart thing about that move, because really he made you guys make a move, right? He made you guys make a decision. Somebody's got to go with him, and he figured, I'm lessening the odds because if it comes down to a straight-out sprint, I'm probably not going to beat these guys.
Well, he does have the speed. You know, he was probably the quickest in the field, but yeah, he definitely had the element of surprise on his side. And as you could see, the other 2 guys, they really couldn't react in that moment. You know, Bevan and Javier.
Yeah.
I think they were all kind of shocked as well. Whereas I just didn't care. I just waited for that sprint. I'd been training for that sprint in my mind for at least a year, that I thought it would come down to a sprint. So when it finally opened up, I was like, oh, here we go. This is my
When he went, though, had you had a plan? Had you decided when you were going to go? And then he went, and obviously he made your choice for you. But what was your plan prior to that?
I had a plan.
Right.
I had a plan to sprint, but I was hoping somebody else would open it up. Yeah.
Okay, so it fit right in.
So winning the gold, how did that change your world?
It's a little bit like someone pushing a fast forward button in your life. It's just everything happens all at once, all the time. You just get invited for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and in between you got to do this and got to do that. And it was a really busy and really cool time, you know, just experiencing lots and being able to promote myself and the sport was a great opportunity.
Still getting invited for breakfast, I see.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Yeah.
breakfast. Where's my breakfast, guys?
It's right up there, baby. We walked right by. So after 2008, you stayed in the game for 12, right? Took 6th in 2012 at the Olympics in London. And after then, did you always feel that you were going to move up to longer distance?
Well, you know, personally, I probably feel the 6th place in London was my bigger achievement.
Really?
Because it came off literally 6 weeks of running. I'd been injured since December and had some of the world's best specialists telling me, I can't help you. I had a trapped nerve in my calf.
Yeah.
And I couldn't run a single meter for about 6 months. And so a 6th place at the Olympics of 6 weeks of running,
wow,
was pretty cool. But at the same time, with the 6th place, you're walking away empty-handed.
No medal.
Let's be honest. It's empty-handed. It's a fantastic result. But I just didn't want to finish my short course career like that. I would have gone to longer distance racing straight away if something would have come from it. So I decided to finish in Hamburg, home race for us, Team World Championships.
Yeah.
And and then I really knew I wanted to come here. This is sort of the big one in our sport, and I really want to come here.
Was the decision that quick, or having finished 6th, like you said, on 6 weeks of running, did you sit there and go, all right, maybe 2016, if I actually have a decent year of training that year, why not? Or did you think, you know what, 4 years to come away with nothing? I'm going straight over to the dark side.
Look here, let's be honest. The Olympics are epic. The Olympics are a massive sports festival. Anything, any sport comes together, and you watch sports that you would never ever watch if you're not a participant. And the problem with the Olympics is there's 4 years in between, and it's a long time. And that's, I really felt I needed a change, and was really happy to explore another avenue of our sport. Racing in the US is completely different to racing in Europe, and I've really, really enjoyed it, and it's brought a fresh wind into my life. And someone asked me the other day whether I miss it, and I'll be honest, I'm loving this. I'm quite happy where I am.
It also the when you do these type of races, it's really you against you, right? There's less when you're doing the Olympic style race with the jumping off the pontoon and the tactics on the bike, and you got 50 guys coming off the bike together. This is a little pure, to the perspective of that the other guys are there, but it's really all on your shoulders in terms of how the race turns out.
Absolutely. I mean, you've still, you need to make decisions, but you've got more time to make decisions whether you're going to go with somebody or not. There's still tactics involved, and let's be honest, with the depth of field that we're getting, it's not quite as pure as it used to be, perhaps.
Yes.
But you are right. It is still much more scientifical. You can ride to your numbers. The whole aerodynamics on the bike really fascinates me. It's a more technical element to the sport. And then, of course, in the end, you have to pace yourself in a marathon. You can have someone 10 minutes up the road, and it means nothing. So if you compact those 8 hours into a 1 hour show, you've got so much more going on than you've ever got in a short distance race. Because if somebody goes and he's got 10 seconds, he's gone. You're not going to see him again. Whereas here, there's so much more drama to it.
They could blow up.
Stuff can happen, and that's a real surprise to me, actually.
So everybody that I've talked to in the last week, and coming over here last night to talk to a number of people, everybody says Jan Frodeno, Jan Frodeno, Jan Frodeno, Jan Frodeno.
I thought you swam here from Barcelona.
For obvious reasons. Yeah, I did.
Even the fish were talking about
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Everybody was
talking about it.
Talk a little bit about the relative speed, because I know when we interviewed some of the ITU athletes, they always talk about how it would be to come over to the longer side and go slower. You know what I mean? It's not that hard. It's not the intensity that we have on the ITU side. Talk a little bit about the difficulties that you have found. Maybe it's not the scalding speed that you guys have, but what is it? What is the element? Obviously the distance, but what is it that makes this difficult? I mean, a 2:40, 2:45 marathon doesn't probably sound that fast when you're racing ITU and guys are running 29, 30 minutes. Yeah. It's like, you should be able to run 2:30 pretty much with your eyes closed. So what is it about this distance?
I think anybody who says it's easy has never done the last hour of an Ironman. It's about the most terrifying thing I've ever done. And I actually looked at it the other day on TV, and it's amazing how quickly you forget too. Like in that last hour, you could have handed me a private jet and a villa on the beach here, and I said, thank you guys, have it. Give it to someone else, But then as soon as you finish and you get in the whole vibe, you're like, this is so cool. For some reason, it's totally bizarre. And it's like you say, it's when you come from that sort of speed, it's amazing when you're running 29 minutes for 10 Ks, you're hurting a lot. But when you stop at the finish line, it's over, your lungs come back, and 3 minutes later you feel like, I could have pushed that last K. There's no way you could have gone any faster, but a few minutes later you feel good again.
Yeah.
In that last hour of the marathon, you can run 5 minutes, you can run 3 minutes per K. Sorry, I'm still thinking in Ks.
Yeah, that's all right. That's good.
And it hurts just the same. It's whatever you do, it hurts. It really does, and it becomes a mind game. And there's so much more mental, capacity that you need to sort of push yourself to that last little bit to squeeze it all out. That makes the big difference. So that's what I found it to be really challenging and really exciting.
What I love is your first Ironman experience at Frankfurt, right? Probably not something you loved, but I mean, seriously, it just says Sebastian Kienle goes 7:55, Frederick goes 8, and you go 8:07. But pretty much everything that could go wrong went wrong for you. 3 flats, and then when we were looking online and following, and Jan Frodeno's walking again, and Jan Frodeno's walking again, and you still ran a 2:43 marathon. When you started the run, how fast were you going?
The first 10, I was going through pretty much spot on 3:25 per kilometer. So that makes it about 33 high, 34 minutes.
For the first 10K
For
of
the
a
first
marathon at
Yeah.
the Ironman.
Yeah, for the first 10K. And
Sounds
honestly,
reasonable.
Yeah.
And honestly, I thought I was close to walking. It felt that slow, and everybody's telling me, you're running too fast, you're running too fast. I'm like, I can't run any slower. It's not happening. And
You always have that problem, don't
Always.
you, Bob? Yeah.
Always.
yeah, but then ask me from 30 to 40, it went, you got to run faster. I can't.
There's nothing left.
It was definitely one of those pacing things where I should have gone out a minute or two slower for the first, 10K, and maybe the back end of the marathon would have
Yeah.
looked different. But, for me, it was all about the Ironman experience, about really struggling, about having ups and downs, about having great moments, about having real low moments, and still going through with it, Finishing was always the prerogative, and even with 3 punctures, I was like, all right, it's going to be a long day. Let's try and validate. Let's try and get the points. Let's go to Kona.
Let's go 807.
So you've been obviously on the biggest stage, had the most pressure that there is in terms of being at the Olympics, and then coming in as the Olympic defending champion. A lot of people talk about pressure in Kona and how this is the Ironman. You got a little taste of that in Frankfurt. I would say among Ironman races other than Kona, that is certainly one of the biggest. But what does it feel like this week to you? Do you feel any of that? And do you think it maybe is going to change after you go to the pro meeting? I mean, how does it feel to you being here?
Oh, Lord. I like to say pressure creates diamonds, and that's what it's going to take. The pressure is what brings it, what makes the event special.
Yeah.
It's because people care. It's because it's the most prestigious event we have in our sport. It's historically one of the big events. Everybody says, "Oh, you do Ironman. Oh, you've been to Hawaii." It's the big one.
Sure.
And with history and so much prestige being out there, obviously the pressure is greater, and that's what it should be. It's a world championship, so bring it on. Yeah.
What are your goals for Saturday?
I would like to have a really, really strong race from beginning to end. I know it's going to be a long day, but I've learned to break the race down into baby steps, because so much can happen, and you're not always going to feel good. And I want to try and have the strongest race possible. And I know that sounds very blasé, and I don't want to stick to
it
a
is
placing.
pretty blasé, I got to tell you. Yeah.
But really, that's how I break it down. I've come away from saying, I want to go in
Xtime or whatever.
Xtime or this or that. You never know what's going to happen. So
you have that in the back of your head, though, don't you? I mean, surely someone like you has those times in your head of what's possible.
Sure, I have those times in my head, and then I go out on a quiet morning like this, and I wonder, the Queen K, it's super fast, smooth. There's not a breath of wind out there. How come nobody's ever ridden faster here? But in reality, during the race, it seems to unfold different, and that's what being a rookie is all about. Coming here, I've great respect for the performances that the guys have put in. I said earlier that I've been on the island for 2 weeks, and I think my legs arrived last night. I have sucked. I have sucked
Really?
for 2 weeks, like shocking.
The heat, you mean, or just
Well, I don't know. It's
jet lag? No, you've traveled so much.
Just getting rested.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. I fly to America. Normally, I fly in 2-3 days before the race from Europe or Australia.
Yeah.
And I live close to Barcelona, and it's hot there. So I'm not sure what was going on, but I just literally couldn't deal with it. I had my heart rate through the roof, like power values close to, I was riding base pace, and I was riding threshold heart rate, so it was ridiculous.
But today you did a brick workout, and it was a little different.
Yeah, this morning I did my final brick, just 90 minutes and a quick run off it, but getting back to some usual feeling, some good pace, some good speed, so looking good for Saturday.
I'm sure the other guys are really excited that your legs are back.
yeah, I'm sure that they're going to be thrilled to hear that.
Otherwise, all this hype for nothing. I mean, come on.
So I think a lot of people in our sport know your background, but talk a little bit about that accent. I know I certainly thought, there's Jan Frodeno from Germany, and then I heard you speak, and I'm like, that sounds like my wife's accent. You've got a little of the South African thing going, which has to help you. That's a nation of endurance, fanatics, and hot, humid, all of those things. That's got to bode well for you.
Yeah, I grew up in South Africa, in Cape Town, and that's also where my triathlon career started. Then spent a lot of time there, a lot of time preparing in the winter, still moving back and forth to Germany, or from Germany. And then I met my wife, Emma Snowsall, who's Australian, so now everybody's giving me a hard time for slowly but surely sounding a little more Aussie.
Yes, you
do.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a mixed accent.
Do you think the background gives you some advantage? I mean, you talk about South Africa again, Paula, and going down there, you see the running depth that is down there, the wind in Cape Town. I mean, some of the elements that you have to deal with here are the elements that you lived with growing up.
You know what? I think it's also mentally, it's given me a bit of an edge. Just seeing and traveling lots, having different attitudes. You know, I think I have, I have certain attitudes that make the German athletes very strong. You know, sort of the scientific side of things and being very precise. But then I also have that relaxedness, that casualness that the South Africans have about them. You know, trying to get me anywhere on time is a hard thing.
You were great.
But then again, I don't stress about too much either. So I think that certainly helps in endurance racing.
So you have a gold medal from Beijing. Your wife Emma has a gold medal from Beijing. I don't know how many summer Olympic married couples both have gold medals.
Yeah, pretty rare.
Probably a small group. So whose gets priority in terms of the gold medal placement in the house?
Yeah, you know, Emma pulls rank. She's definitely had an awesome career. It's not that we compare it. That's for sure. I mean, it's more jokingly, but just in terms of a sporting side, it's fantastic to be able to look on something like that together.
And is Emma retired?
Yeah, Emma retired a few months ago. She's been really struggling with the stomach virus. That's sort of gotten her sick on and off training for the last 2 years, and it was a tough ending to her career. You know, she's won pretty much. She's one of the few people who's won more than they've lost.
Yes.
And it was obviously real tough for her, but she's getting back to health and studying nutrition, and obviously being a huge help on my side.
So if you finish top 5 here on Saturday, would you be happy with that?
Absolutely. I mean, it's top 5 includes the spot that I want as well. Let's be honest. I don't.
There, he said it. Finally, he got it out of him.
Took us a while, but yes.
Look here. I mean, let's be honest. You don't train for 8, 9, 10 months of the year, and every morning get up and hit yourself with a stick basically in training and just hurt yourself and keep going and keep pushing, and all those moments that are really tough to come 5th. Like, who does that? You know, it's really.
Paul Huddle.
I did it
for 20 years.
That would have been great. 5th? Wow.
Well, that's the thing. In the morning, you get up and you picture yourself winning, of course. And I would love to do that. That's in my mind. That's my goal, long term as well as short term. But whether that's realistic is another story.
Is there a part of this course? I'm assuming 2 weeks here. You've seen everything there is to see. You probably know it historically. Is there any part of this event that you can't, I mean, I know you wrap your mind around the whole thing, but that you're like a little bit, energy lab, 16 miles coming or 18 miles coming out of the energy lab. Is there any part of this course where you're going, I'm not quite sure about that one spot?
You know what, I picked pretty much the hottest day in the last 2 weeks and went to the energy lab and did hill reps, just to sort of blow that one out of my mind. And it's, I think, the accumulative fatigue that'll get you.
Yeah.
So it's all manageable when you're fresh.
Right.
You know, there's nothing in it that you can really say, okay, these 20 minutes are going to get you.
Right.
But after 6 hours, those 20 minutes look very different to the 20 minutes that you just did after a 15-minute warm-up. Yeah. So I've got a lot of respect for the course, and have been trying lots of gear, lots of kit, to see what can help me with the heat and try and get to every point as fresh as I can.
Love it.
Can I ask one more, Babbitt?
Absolutely.
I gotta ask one more. You're a tall guy.
I was going to say that, yes.
How tall are you?
6'4".
Yeah, I think so.
That's taller than some of the guards in the NBA.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway.
They can jump. I can't. That's why they get the salary and I don't.
And a lot of people make a lot about statistics in this sport, and I frankly think that, heart and an athlete is completely the game. But that said, there has not been a winner on the male side, I think, over 6'2". I think Peter Reed was probably our tallest Ironman champion, I'm guessing. Do you think at all about that kind of stuff? I mean, everyone says, yeah, but look at Marino. Yeah, but look at Torbjorn. Yeah, but look at this one and look at that one. Because the only argument I've heard so far against Jan Frodeno, and there hasn't been, I don't think any, except for this, he's too tall. And I'm like, too tall? What is that?
Wow,
What do you think?
I've heard lots of them. It's my first time.
Well,
Luke Van
there is
Leer,
that. Luke Van Leer one.
Luke Van Leer won
Yeah.
his first time. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Not a lot, but a few
Well,
people.
there's been a few.
Yeah, but anyways, people say
Chrissy?
it's the first time. You can't really do it on your first time. There's no Olympic medalist that's ever medaled here.
Paul McKeely
Jones.
silver
There
medal.
you
and she
go.
took that
Bam!
there.
Out of the water.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my
Next.
dad's a thermal engineer, and he tells me the bigger you are, the taller you are, the more surface area you actually have
To dissipate the heat.
to dissipate the heat. So I'm going with that. I'm just
you know what?
sticking
You
with
know
that.
what? As
And
soon
we'll
as he
leave it
said
at that.
thermal engineer, I'm like, wow, that is a good one.
How about that for our audience? Yeah, we like that. It's not often we get thermal engineering. I
haven't heard that.
Jan, thank you
Think
so
about
much.
it. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate
Thanks
you
so much
coming
for
down.
taking so much time and coming in. It's really a pleasure to get to spend more time with you.
Thanks for having me,
And
guys. It's been
hopefully
great.
Sunday you'll be back here.
Yeah.
It would be wonderful.
Yes. Poncho Man, come on back again. This is Breakfast from Huggos. We're presented by Active, #Inspired to Race. My name is Bob Babbitt. His name is Mr. Paul Norman Huddle. Our sponsors are Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. Poncho Man, take us out.
Take me back to the con, take me back to the con, all over more better. It's Breakfast with Bob and Paul, that's all. Breakfast with Bob.
Poncho!